Holiness Jagadguru Sri Sri Nirmalananda Swamiji, Professor C.D. Prasad, former scientist, Vikram Sarabhai Center, Vice Chancellor Madhya University, Dr. Puttraju, CEO Sri Adicharagiri Shikshana Trust, Dr. M.S. Ramegowda, Principal of SAC College, Dr. B.K. Lokesh, faculty members of the college, students of the college, as well as the delegates to this international seminar. First of all, I would like to thank the management of this Shikshana Trust for giving me this opportunity to be part of this seminar and also say a few words about the topics that are being covered in this particular seminar. So many advances have taken place all over the world in both basic and applied physics. It is almost impossible really to be a master of all of them in a short time. So therefore, seminars of this kind, where experts come and talk to the delegates, are very essential, so that immediately one can have contact with the experts, communicate with the experts, clear the doubts and gather the important aspects of any field. So therefore, activities of this kind, that is seminars, workshops, conferences, are very essential for any higher institution such as a college or university. I am sure this management will take note of it and organize more such activities in the coming days. So one can broadly divide. I am going to talk about what are the recent developments in various branches of physics in a nutshell, not really in a detailed manner. So one can broadly divide the developments into three groups. In the first category, we have developments extremely small scales of mass, small length and small time scales. Next we have advances in the other extreme, very large masses, very large distances, very large time scales. So these are matters of astrophysics and cosmology. So then finally we have the intermediate level advances which are taking place in intermediate levels of mass, length and time, such as what we are familiar with in everyday life. Okay? So at the smallest scale, I will begin with the smallest scale, what are the developments, then go to the other developments in organized fashion. At the smallest scale, we have what is known as the standard model of elementary particles. So it is also known as quantum chromodynamics. So it deals with the most fundamental particles and their interactions with one another. In this model, we have two kinds of particles, namely quarks and leptons. So these quarks these are the matter particles, and then we have what are called the force mediators, which are bosons. The matter particles are represented by quarks and leptons. These are the most fundamental ones. All other particles are made up of quarks and antiquarks. So there are 6 quarks and 6 leptons identified. These are the most basic elements. So they are further grouped into 3 families or generations. In the first generation we have up and down quarks. These are just names. Up means not up and down. Up quark and down quarks. Along with electron and its corresponding neutrino. So these 4 form what is called the first family. Then these are the most abundant particles in nature. So then we have another family having charm quark, strange quark, muon particles and mu neutrino. The second family. The third family, we have the top quark, bottom quark, tau meson and tau neutrino. So these have been discovered, and for discovery of such particles, Nobel Prizes have been given in the past. So commonly seen particles like protons, neutrons, which we are made of. We are made of protons, neutrons, electrons most of the time. All the elementary particles, they are not stable. They are very unstable. So these are the ones stable. So they consist of up quark and down quark, and the electrons and neutrinos. So interaction between quarks and leptons are mediated by particles called vector bosons. These are somewhat technical terms for those people who are not familiar with some of the particles, but at least you will get to know more about that in this seminar if you participate. So the vector boson, this vector boson, they have got spin 1. Okay, that is vector boson. So these are, for examples of gluons. These are particles with mediate strong interaction. Then we have W particles. These are mediators of weak interaction. So three fundamental interactions are there in quantum aspects: strong interaction, weak interaction, electromagnetic interactions. Okay. Then we have the Z particle and the photons. So these are what are called the vector bosons. So interaction is described by theories. They are called gauge theories, which incorporate what is known as the local gauge invariance, the local phase invariance. These are high technical terms. I'm just going to summarize. Probably you will hear more about them in the seminar. So local gauge invariance requirement for coupling the particles with the gluons and the vector bosons. So mathematical simplicity or mathematical consistency requires what is known as the renormalizability, that is vector bosons that are proposed, that is W boson, photon and other particles, gluon, they are supposed to be massless for mathematical consistency, or what is technically known as renormalizability. So the question arises therefore as to how one can account for their masses. Their masses, we know that they got mass, W particle they got mass. Z particle they got mass, gluon they got mass. Okay, photon is one which has no mass. So how to account for these masses? That is a big puzzle. Okay, so the mechanism, therefore, a mechanism for generating mass was proposed in 1964 by Peter Higgs. So that is why it is named the particle which was discovered later according to his proposal is called Higgs boson. So you see a photograph this thing there. This one, the last person there, that is Peter Higgs. On the banner. Last person on the Peter Higgs. So Higgs proposed, he was not the alone person, there were several other persons at the same time who proposed the mechanisms and developed it further so that mathematical consistency is achieved. So whenever a physical theory is represented mathematically, it should have consistency and give you finite results. So these were achieved in the subsequent years, and they propose what is called universal scalar field, okay, to account for the masses. And this scalar field is supposed to have non-zero vacuum expectation value. What happens if I go into more detail? The particles will be fluctuating, they will have zero vacuum expectation value. Then they will not give you masses. So this Higgs particle is supposed to have a non-zero vacuum expectation value, vacuum value in nature. So then therefore, because it couples with other particles, it generates mass. So that is what is called the Higgs mechanism for producing masses. The excitations or quanta of such a scalar field are called Higgs particles or Higgs bosons. So some scientists, they dub this particle God particles. Okay, just to highlight that these are very important particles. This is an important particle because it is able to generate masses for so many other elementary particles. So it is very fundamental. So God created this field which is very universal, and therefore they call it God particle, but technically it is called the Higgs boson. So people began to look for that from 1970 onward, people began to look for it. So any theory which is proposed has to be verified experimentally. The proofs, however beautiful the theory might be, unless experiments show that it is correct, it will be rejected. So people have to look for the prediction of Higgs boson. So nearly for 40 years the search was on, and only in the year 2012, that too on July 4th. July 4th, you know what is the particular significance of that day? July 4th. So that happens to be the Independence Day of USA, American Independence Day, July 4th. So on that day it was announced, they discovered, the scientists at CERN, so they actually very clearly noticed the presence of this Higgs particle in their experiments. Okay? So in the year 2013, the next year, so this was done with the help of one of the most advanced experimental setups in the world, that is called the Large Hadron Collider. So you will hear more about that in the technical session. I think somebody will talk about the Large Hadron Collider, how it is able to generate these particles and so on. So they noticed a particle which was present whenever protons and antiprotons were colliding, they produce all kinds of other particles. So if you notice another particle, it will show up in some kind of a peak. At that particular peak, there will be a lot of masses collected. So they notice a peak around 125 GeV. So what is 1 GeV? 1 GeV is typically the mass of one proton. So this particle, Higgs boson or the God particle, okay, so to say, is present at a mass of 125 GeV, 125 times the mass of the proton. So because of this discovery, once this was discovered, people appreciated the works of Higgs and Englert and so on, and they were awarded the Nobel Prize the next year, 2013. So subsequent experiments and the Large Hadron Collider till today, several experiments have been done. It is not sufficient if you just want to do one experiment and confirm it. Many other people have to confirm it, only then it becomes science. So that is the specialty of science. Science is very objective. You say something, it has to be verified by other people under same conditions. Only then it becomes a part of science. So it was discovered and people have verified. But still, is it the answer? So once a particular result comes up in science, it generates more and more doubts and questions. So there are more and more questions which are yet to be answered about Higgs particle or the God particle. So there are, for example, either only one Higgs boson is there, many others are there. What is the mechanism which generates the mass of the Higgs particle itself? How is it able to produce its own mass? So there are some questions like that. So does it have any cosmological implications? If the cosmology predicts some kind of expanding universe, so this Higgs boson being present everywhere, is it able to produce that kind of a pressure leading to expansion of the galaxy and so on? Okay, earlier I mentioned the standard model. This is all about the Higgs particle standard model. So there are several questions about it, the standard model itself. So it is not even complete. So physics is always working with theories which are incomplete. Okay, so it always has got both ends. There is always scope for other persons to come in and contribute to science. So that is another important aspect of science. Science is developed by many people working in different places together, and it's a very collective effort, and there are always room for development. It's never complete. Unlike a religious textbook, it is never a closed chapter. It's always an open chapter. So several parameters in the standard model are put in arbitrarily. They have to be taken assumed arbitrarily. And therefore there are questions as to how one is able to introduce these parameters. Is it possible to derive? So scientists are always looking for more and more so-called unification. So you want one theory which can predict everything. So theory of everything. So that is the ultimate goal of scientists. So therefore, if you put in extra parameters and then match the curve, like what you do in experiments, you have some data, you match the curve by some parameters. But how do these parameters come in? That is science. Okay? So people are looking for ways of deriving these parameters. So it is not really that unique. Again, the standard model, by unifying electromagnetic weak interactions, strong interactions, it is not able to introduce universal gravitational force. Gravitational force is there everywhere. You cannot avoid it. So that is not part of the standard model. So how to bring in gravity as part of the standard model is the most important problem in physics, most fundamental, highest level. And that is called the problem of quantizing gravity. All the other interactions are quantized. So it is believed that gravity should also be quantized. Whether how to do it, how to unify, that is called unification. And if you go to unification means as you go to higher and higher energies, all the interactions look alike. Okay? They just become part of one big sphere. When you reduce the energy, they separate out. That is what is called unification. Maybe somebody will talk about unified field theory, unification of forces. So that is the thing. So gravity is not yet unified. That is one of the problems, very extreme problems. Now let me move over to the other extreme of very large masses, very large time scales, and very long distances. So this is the field of cosmology and gravitation and astrophysics and so on. So here the important force is the gravitation force. All the other three forces do not contribute. At the large scale, it is gravity which is the dominant thing. Interaction between galaxies, interaction between stars. The gravitational force, that is the contributing force. So by studying, therefore people are studying the motions of stars in the galaxy, clouds in the galaxy, and galaxies themselves in clusters of galaxies. they have come to a very strange conclusion. What is strange conclusion? That in the universe there is lot of matter which is missing, not known. Okay, you cannot account for the mass that is present. Mass has to be present in order for these bodies to be moving and to be in close proximity to one another. Okay, they should be bound. In order for them to be bound, there must be a lot of matter which is not present in the stars and galaxies. So such a matter is what is called the dark matter. One of the most fundamental problems in astrophysics and cosmology. What is this dark matter made of? It is evidence is there, but we don't know what exactly is dark matter. It is not radiating any energy, but it interacting with other particles, other bodies like stars and galaxies by gravitation. Gravitational force only it has. So how this matter came into existence? How is it distributed in the universe? Okay? How is it going to decay further? So all these are questions which are very important on the large scale. This is what's called the dark matter problem. So along with that, more recently, in the year 1998 or so, people have discovered one more strange thing, that is the acceleration of galaxies. You might have heard of Hubble's law in 1929. Hubble, by studying the motions of galaxies, came to the conclusion that galaxies are moving apart from one another with a velocity which is proportional to distance. It's called Hubble's law. So 1999 or 1998 or so, the scientists were studying the most distant galaxy. They came to the conclusion that this linear law is not valid. They are moving faster than linearity. So that is called the accelerating universe. So why this is taking place? Why galaxies are moving so much faster, as though there is some kind of repulsive force in the universe trying to pull them away. So that is what is called the accelerating universe. For that also Nobel Prize was given for three scientists in the year, I don't remember the year, 1999 to discover. So this is a problem. People have explained that on the basis of what is called the dark energy. It's even more mysterious than dark matter. Dark matter is lumpy and located in different parts closer to the masses. The dark energy is uniform, spread all over the universe and giving rise to a pressure which is against gravity. So this is expanding the most distant galaxies at a faster rate. What is called dark energy problem. So there are now speculations that dark energy might be coming from the Higgs boson, so-called dark particle, which is there in the nature fluctuating and leading to pressure. There are speculations which are not yet been conclusively proven. Okay. So more recently, of course, coming to the our own galaxy, people have been looking for what are called exoplanets. For that also Nobel Prize are given. So all these discoveries are the most fundamental or most basic type for which Nobel Prizes are given. In the year 1995, the first so-called exoplanet was discovered. That a planet outside our solar system, they are called exoplanets. Okay? By very sensitive instruments. You have a telescope, a very sensitive instrument, you will be able to detect small vibrations or oscillations of a star. So that is one indication that there is a planet around that star. Okay? So such discoveries are now being done. So people are looking for more and more planets. They must be there. The sun is not just a great star in the universe. There are thousands and thousands, maybe 100 billion stars in the galaxy, and at least a billion of them. Sun is a very ordinary type of star. So there must be a lot of planets around these stars. Now there is supposed to be, but the question is how many are there, or how many can have life on them. So this is one of the most fundamental problems, recent trends. Finding planets having life on them. So they look for what are called planets having habitable zone. So for example, in our own solar system, the sun, the earth and the Mars, so they are in the habitable zone. It's possible that they have some. So we look for those planets having habitable zone. So these are some of the things that are being done, and investigations are going on around the world in different observatories and labs and so on. More recently, you must have heard about black holes. So another very enigmatic object. Black holes are there, and at the center of every galaxy now they are expecting a supermassive black hole. So how this black hole came into existence? How is it going to evolve? So these are questions being asked. A Nobel Prize was given this year for the discovery of another black hole at the center of our galaxy. Isn't it? It was Lady Astronomer. What's her name? So she was given the Nobel Prize for, she spent more than 20 years of her life concentrating only on this problem of determining what is there in the center of the galaxy. So by studying the motion of stars around the center of the galaxy, you can identify that there is a very supermassive object. So in the Nobel Prize citation, they don't say black hole. They say supermassive object is there at the center of the galaxy, very compact one, of the order of having 4 million solar masses. The mass of this is 4 million times the mass of the sun. So most of the people assume it is a black hole, but still there is a small element of doubt. It is a black hole or something else. So there are now people speculating black holes are real, if they exist, are really not possible. So these are questions at the highest level. Now let us look at the intermediate mass level. Intermediate mass, which we are familiar with, meters, centimeters, millimeters, micrometers. These are the intermediate, with which we have an access. We have no access in the smallest objects, which are at the Fermi level, or the largest objects. We just have to do experiment and imagine. But these objects we can see with our microscopes, with our other instruments. So these are the intermediate objects. For them, the dominating thing, or the theory, or the quantum mechanics and electromagnetism, these are the only things. The weak interaction doesn't have, strong interaction doesn't come into picture, or gravity. So most of the things that we deal with in normal life, on the intermediate level, are nothing but the objects for which quantum mechanics and electromagnetism can explain most of the properties. So the most important property of quantum mechanics, maybe somebody will talk about those things in this seminar, are the two important properties are what is called the superposition principle of states as well as the entanglement of states. So these are very highly non-intuitive. We cannot imagine such a thing being existing in the normal world. So these two important properties of quantum mechanical states are responsible for the development of quantum computers, okay, and quantum teleportation. I saw that one of the two other topics, sub-themes in this seminar are quantum computers and quantum teleportation. So while a classical computer makes use of bits that correspond to two distinct states, 0 and 1, quantum computers you have deal with bits and manipulate them, transfer information and do calculation with help of bits. The quantum computer is deal with bits which are called qubits, which can take all values from 0 to 1. So the range is very, very large. Okay? So thereby quantum computer can do a lot of calculations very fast, very quickly, simultaneously, parallel processing. So that is the advantage of quantum computers which are being now invented. They are not yet available on the commercial scale, so they are being invented. Okay, but the problem with the quantum computers is that the processors and the other devices, they have to be kept at very extremely low temperatures, nearly close to absolute zero. So otherwise, what is called the coherence between the states, superposition between the states collapses and becomes useless. So they are being now, one prototype is there at IBM in USA, which is operated nearly 0 degrees Kelvin, and also free from all kinds of other small disturbances, even gravitational field fluctuations, electromagnetic fluctuations, small magnetic fluctuations. So they can throw up the quantum state and disrupt the whole thing. So these are things which are being studied, how to make them more robust, okay, reliable and work at room temperature and so on. In quantum teleportation, another important subject, we make sure of the quantum nature of state. The information is transported from one place to another. Not the body itself is not transported. Information is transported via entangled quantum states. What is called entangled. Maybe somebody will talk to you about that. Quantum states get entangled. So even though you separate them, they remain correlated. Okay, you do something with this state, automatically immediately will have an effect on the other state. That is called entanglement. Even Einstein did not believe in that. Einstein said, how can I believe in such a thing? They're so far apart, you do something in this particular corner, and immediately it has an effect on the other part of the system. So he therefore did not agree with this quantum nature of particles, waves and particles. He said there must be something wrong with quantum mechanics. But it is now known that this kind of a phenomena of what is called quantum entanglement is really there, and it is very much useful in quantum teleportation and quantum cryptography. So somebody was talking about those things. So another important area is superconductivity, which is also mentioned in the seminar. So serious attempts are being done to manufacture superconductors at room temperature. Superconductivity was discovered a long time ago at very low temperature, liquid helium, liquid nitrogen. Now room temperature superconductor, if you are able to manufacture, so that will be a great boon, because you don't lose any energy conducting the current. Okay, all kind of energy transport, current, even information transport can work without heat. So superconductor is very much essential in technology. So, but people don't know how to make them at room temperature. More recently, only last October or so, some scientists in New York, they developed a room temperature superconductor with what are called hydrogen sulfide, some hydrogen sulfide compound. But the only glitch is that it works at very high pressure. Only if you apply pressure of the order of the pressure of the Earth's interior, extremely pressure, only then that material becomes superconductor. So how to manufacture a superconductor room temperature is a big question. If one can do that, definitely you become you win the Nobel Prize and also become a billionaire. Okay? Because that is the level of technological applications you can have in the world. Okay? So this way, there are so many trends or so many areas which are still open for development and research and discussions and so on, and you are very much welcome to participate in them. And it is a great challenge, not only for you as a career, but a great satisfaction you will derive by being part of such a enterprise where you discover something new and manufacture something new, apply the knowledge. So the developments both in basic science, basic physics, as well as applied physics, which require a lot of technical manpower, and I'm sure seminars and conferences like this will help to prepare the students and the faculty members to take part in such activities. So thank you very much for your time. I hope the seminar will be helpful.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insight on recent trends in physics with emphasis on discovery of God particle and the related themes of this seminar. Your mastery over this issue has made all of us to get a deep knowledge about the same. The recent trend in the matters of discovery of God particle was explained and amused us. Thank you very much, sir. Try not to become a man of success, rather try to become a man of value. These lines said by Albert Einstein are seen to be more relevant with one more eminent personality and the guest of honor of today's event, Dr. Puttaraju, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Mandya University. I kindly request the Honorable Chief Guest and distinguished delegates to release the proceedings of the seminar. Now let us have the pleasure of listening to the words of Dr. Puttaraju. Sir, I request you to share your words of insight.
Jai Shri Gurudev. My humble pronouns to Pujya Mahaswamiji, Pujya Gurudev, and respected guests on the dais and off the dais. My dear friends and participants, of course, the media personality. I'm totally, basically civil engineer. When I listen to veterans like Prasadji and other gentlemen, I was really surprised. There are so much of development happening in physics, the basic science. I was also wondering when we were students, we imagine the atom to be the nucleus surrounded by these electrons. But later part, I started reading in 2012 that CERN and they want to invent the God particles. At this point, I was under the impression that at the macro level, like galaxies or the planets, solar system, there is a governing equation. But at the micro level, atomic level, subatomic level, and I started understanding there is some discipline in that. Einstein himself was really surprised to have this kind of correlation between this macro and micro level. And of course, they were desperately trying to bring theory of everything under one formula that is strong and weak process. But I think, I don't know whether they were really successful ones or not, but still, all these major fundamental forces, from starting from gravitation to the atomic level, subatomic level, recent one is Higgs boson, the God particle. I think there are two divisions. One is religion and the other one is scientific. And Pujya Mahaswamiji, I think, represents both. And under his guidance and blessings, I think everybody comes together, both from from the religious side and the scientific side. And there is only one thing God and Swamiji accepted as the universal truth. But still, in the religious sector, there is a lot of confusion. So is the case with the scientific domain. Almost 20 years, when Einstein was just 20 years in his teens, he used to go to the church, pray and complete all the formalities of as a regular religious person. After that, 59, he involved in all this research, denuding the atom, trying to understand the world, universe, bringing that one to the micro level, subatomic level, and he concluded around that 20 years to 50 years that there is no God and it is just natural. But after 59 years, he started feeling, he became very religious. With all this advances knowledge in his brain, he started thinking that there is an order in the universe, not only the planetary movement, not only the atomic level, how these electrons move around, how the proton is gifted with positive charge. He thought that there is some order in the movements, in the energy. So is the case with the religious sector. He himself said, I think in the talk for the day today, you must have seen science without religion, religion without science, blind and lame. Those are the real true things. Ultimately, he concluded that when he was living for example, Japan, he advised his two daughters, use little for yourself, give more to the society. So such a highly scientist with a scientific knowledge, he was reduced to this level of religious thinking. And he says, you have to mix religion with this scientific temper. Only then we can really give the most of the things to the society. Possibly, our Radhachandra Mutt is really gifted by Puja Gurudev, His Holiness Guru Sri Dr. Balaganandana Swamiji, and of course, a gift to the society. He is highly talented, highly spiritual, highly technical. Even though Mahaswamiji is also civil engineer from IIT Madras, but he is always interested in knowing what is really happening in the inside the atom. So most of the time he uses these Einstein's examples, and I think with these blessings, we're all really. I was also a student like you, and I did my basically PUC in 1978 along with Dr. Krishna, who was sitting here together, and I did my +2 PUC in Radhachandra Mutt. Then I went on to become an engineer with this largest free seat in IIT Chikmagalur. Then job was offered in HJCIT, our own engineering college in Chikballapur in 1987. Then Swamiji said, I think you should shoulder the responsibility of becoming the principal at the age of 37, 38 in Bangalore, JBIT. I said, Swamiji, I don't know anything in administration. I may request some more years, 10 more years. Swamiji blessed, no, you can do it. Then 20 years I was there as a principal, fourth principal at JBIT in Bangalore. Then when an opportunity comes to here in Mandya University, Swamiji again blessed to become the first Vice Chancellor of Mandya University, all because of his blessings. And today I'm talking to you as a person, not as a Vice Chancellor, as a person, humble person who is really interested in doing some service to this society in a smaller way. Swamiji is doing in a bigger way. Whatever the blessings and guidance he gives us, gives to me, I'm really following it. And definitely dear students and participants and my dear friends, you don't think that a lot of research are actually happening in some big research centers. It can happen even in this college. What makes a difference is your focus, your commitment. How our Puja Mahaswamiji use focus and interest in everything is to be followed by us on daily basis. So he gets up early and focuses more attention on everything and guides everybody. So being a students cannot take inspiration from Mahaswamiji, Prasadji, Kavirji, and there are so many other people. And if you can focus your energy on one particular domain, definitely you can do a lot of research. And for that research only, Swamiji started this Radhachandra University in the north side of Mandya, and in the center of Mandya there is a government university. And these universities are basically started not through some graduation program. ಇದು ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಪೂರ್ತಿ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಈ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಅಂತ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಬರೋದೇ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸು ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿನೇ. ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಫಿಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮರ್ಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ when you go to the atomic level. ಸೊ ಈ ಥರ ಅವಕಾಶಗಳು ನಮಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ಖಂಡಿತ ನೀವು ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ಸು ಈ ಸಲಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಯಾವಾಗ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಯಂಗ್ಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಟಾಮಿಕ್ ಬಾಂಬ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಇಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಬಿಕಮ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಲೈಫ್. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಈ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವತ್ತು there is definitely big challenge for the teachers and professors and the students. So this education system is going to change drastically in next 5 years, next 10 years and 15 years. In next 15 years there will be no affiliation system in the entire country. Each individual institution like this B++, this can become a new city having a lot of research on its own. So this is what the guidelines for the national education policy. Please go through the content and think of becoming a university by yourself and start doing the research. That's how one can definitely focus more on a particular interest field, not only physics, it could be any engineering also. So definitely this is the forum, and there are so many experts and there are so many sessions happening after this inauguration. Feel free to interact with them, and anytime, any doubt, don't keep quiet. And at the same time, you can definitely request them to clarify the experts. 20-25 years of experience, all these expertise will come to you immediately on the same spot. Don't be a student in the classroom, and you can ask all the doubts and clarification there itself, and you can definitely become very successful once. I think last bit with the information from pharmacy and guests, why this kind of international conference and conferences are very important. I was giving my conference while in IIT Kanpur about my project work, research work. And one professor was sitting and listening to me half an hour. I was so confident on my research that I'm going to do this and that. And he kept quiet, not even a single word in between. And when I say that I'm done with this, my presentation, he stood up. He was a big professor in IIT. And he said, Puttaraju, if you get a result out of this concept, IIT Kanpur will give one PhD. From my side, one more PhD. I said, why sir, this paper? And you will never get the results. What am I saying? There is a wrong in your assumption. The whole concept is wrong. My guide was really surprised and astonished. He was also a professor from IIT. And he was not knowing where exactly I was doing the mistake. And that big professor challenged me in front of him, saying that this is going to be wrong. Then we changed it. We sat after the meeting, presentation, we sat together and we changed the formulations. And I could complete the PhD in just 2 years, 7 months because of this input. So that way, there are so many people coming with all these ideas. When somebody is presenting this case, don't keep quiet. You can make a note of this and keep a mind for your research activities. So with this, I hope this international conference will bring a lot of ideas in you and a lot of interaction with you. And I think this will be very successful ones with the blessings of Pujya Mahaswamiji. And I sincerely thank this organization for giving me this opportunity to speak on this occasion. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are overwhelmed with your amazing speech. Your highlighted areas of new education policy, research and emerging trends, and thank you for motivating all of us with your words. Thank you once again, sir. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. Pujya Mahaswamiji's prophecy is to follow in the paths of his Guru, working relentlessly with the vigorous scientific background and mastery of the religious wisdom is made us elf-stuck. It is my humble request to Pujya Mahaswamiji to shower his divine blessings on all of us.
Hari Om Tat Sat. Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvaditam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavaditam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Shri Vidyam Jagatam Dhatrim Sargas Itirayeshwarim Namami Lalitam Nitya Maha Tripura Sundari. On this occasion, I salute the divine soul of His Holiness Jagadguru Padma Bhushan Dr. Sri Bal Gangadhar Mahaswamiji, who is the cause for all these manifested things and activities. On the occasion of recent trends in physics with emphasis on discovery of God particle, today's chief guest and who inaugurated an occasion, Sri C.D. Prasad, Senior ISRO scientist from Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, Trivandrum. I must be grateful on behalf of Sri Adi Chunchinma Sansthan Math and its institutions for having given such a beautiful, meaningful discourse on space research and prevailing activities which are going on. and also he narrated in detail about the MOM project, MAS, the way how we have lost the contact with recently conducted AELO, Chandrayaan 2. Till now most of you must not have been understood the reason why we have lost the connection, why our Chandrayaan 2 was failed. Thank you very much, Professor, for having made us to understand, though we did know a bit of what happened. You have cleared the clouds of misunderstanding which were there in the minds of our children and the students. Here is the person who is a physicist, gave a beautiful talk on the topic. From Bangalore University, Dr. Basuraj Kagri. I don't know how many of you have understood in reality the things which he has spoken. If at all, if you have any doubt towards the end of this inaugural session, you can take a piece of paper and make a questions and you can ask him. If at all, if it is understood properly to you all, if not, go back and study. Only after having understood it properly, you can raise a question to him. So, I must be very much grateful again, even to Basuraj Kagli also, for having delivered such a beautiful discourse on the topic which is given. Here is ex-Vice Chancellor, Mr. Ramegowda, who is Chief Administrative Officer of our Education Institutions of Aditya Institution Trust. As the ex-Vice Chancellor, academician, he himself is a man of science, having known in depth into the deeper levels of science. He is going to address during concluding ceremony. Just now, Mr. Putraj, who is the Vice Chancellor of Mandya, first Vice Chancellor of Mandya University, which is recently established, who spoke on different topics, being alumni of Aditya Chinchingima Sansthan and Section Trust, understanding the need which is needed for our children, he has addressed. Thank you very much for having made your presence over here, Mr. Putraj, in spite of your busy schedule. There is another guy to the extreme end of mine, Mr. Krishna Gowda, who is the governing council member of our institution. And many delegates have come here to present your papers and to give your talks, being on different sessions. And dear students and dear faculty, and dear listeners, not only the audience who are present over here, this being international seminar and conference, this conference is being heard and viewed. Hundreds and thousands of people across the globe. I wish you know that in the year 2012, when that was invented, Professor, sannyasis started worshipping in the temple, stating that at last these scientists have accepted there is a God. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳು ಈ ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮೈ ಗಾಡ್, ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಡೂ ವಿತ್ ಯುವರ್ ಗಾಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಗಾಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್. ನೀವು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ದೇವರುಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕಂಡಿಡ್ತಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಗಾಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇದ್ರಲ್ವ, ನೀವು ಯಾಕೆ ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಬೈಕಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು. ಅಂತೂ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಒಪ್ಕೊಂಡಲ್ಲ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು ಗಾಡ್ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ. ಈ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ 4 fundamentals, forces which happened soon after the Big Bang happened about 13.7 billion years ago. ಸುಮಾರು ಒಂದು ಬಿಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಅವಾಗ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆನೂ. ಅದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಅಪ್ರಾಕ್ಸಿಮೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸುಮಾರು ಒಂದು 14 ಬಿಲಿಯನ್ ಕೂಡ 13.7 billion years ago this world, the present universe has come into existence because of that Big Bang. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ? 1370 ಕೋಟಿ ವರ್ಷದ ಹಿಂದೆ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಬಿಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ ಮಹಾಸ್ಫೋಟ ಅಂತ ಆಯ್ತಂತೆ. ಆದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ವಂತೆ. ಕೇಳಿಸುತ್ತಾ? ಆ 4 ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಯಾರು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅವ್ರ ಪೇಪರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ. ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದಂತೆ, ಗ್ರಾವಿಟೇಷನಲ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇನ್ನೊಂದಂತೆ, ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು, ವೀಕ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು. ಈ 4 ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಗಳು. ಈ 4 ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 3 ಫೋರ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಇನ್. ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಗ್ರಾವಿಟೇಷನಲ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್. ಇದರೊಳಗಡೆ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆರಿಜಿನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸ್, ವೆನ್ ದೇ ವೇರ್ ಟ್ರೈಂಗ್, ಅವಾಗ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದ ಇಂಥದ್ದು ಇರ್ಬೋದು ನೋಡಿ ಹಾಗೆ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಥಿಯರಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡೋರು ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ ಗ್ರಾವಿಟೇಷನಲ್ ವೇವ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಲ್ಬರ್ಟ್ ಐನ್ಸ್ಟೈನ್ had given that. Quite recent in 2016, another scientist they have invented, the person who invented he got the Nobel Award. But unfortunately, Einstein was not living in the year 2016, by then already passed. ಆದರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬಂದದ್ದು ನೊಬೆಲ್ ಅವಾರ್ಡೇ ಬೇರೆ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಫೋಟೋ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್. ಆ ರೀತಿ ಯಾರೋ ಒಂದು ಥಿಯರಿಯನ್ನು ಫ್ಲೋಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟನ್ನು ಫ್ಲೋಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಯಾರೋ ಇಂಥದ್ದು ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಟ್ರೂ ಅಂತ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಆವಾಗ ಅವರು ಹೇಳೋರು ಹೋಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡೋರಿಗೆ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಫಾರ್ಚುನೇಟ್ಲಿ way back in 1964, when Peter Higgs gave the concept of this Higgs boson, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗಾಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ಪಾಪ. Even today no scientists are telling anything about the, they are not at all using the word God particle. Otherwise they say it is Higgs boson. 1964 ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದನ್ನ ಇದು ಸರಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ 48 ವರ್ಷ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು. How many years? After 48 long years they have made it right, they have proved it that it is right in the year 2012. Actually what exactly this Higgs boson field is? ಇನ್ನು ಉಳಿದದನ್ನ ಬಹುಶಃ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ಸು ಮಾತನಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ವೈಟ್ ಸಿಂಪಲ್. ನೀವು ಒಬ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀರಿ, ಹೌದಾ? ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. ಏನಿದೆ? ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಏನು ಆಗ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಇದೆ, ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೂರ್ಣ ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಇದೆ. ಆದರೆ ನೀವು ತಿನ್ನಕ್ಕೆ ಸಪ್ಪೆ ಅನಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಏನಿರ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತಲ್ಲಿ? ಸ್ವೀಟ್ ಇರಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಬೆಲ್ಲ ಇರಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಬೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಒಬ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಜಗತ್ತೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ನಿಯಮಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳಗಾದಾಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ಎ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಲಾ. ವಾಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ ಬ್ರಾಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್. ಹಾಗೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಈ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದಿದೆ, ಈ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಿದ್ರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಫೆನಾಮಿನಲ್ ಎಂಪಿರಿಕಲ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್. ಇದು ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಏನಂತ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, there is a mass. Soon after the Big Bang something has come and it is pervaded entire universe. Higgs boson field that has given mass to the matter. ಯಾವಾಗ ಈ ಮಾಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ಗೆ ಅಂಟಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂದು ಇವತ್ತು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಕಾಣುವ ಜಗತ್ತು ಅಸ್ತಿತ್ವಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಯಿತು. ಬಹುಶಃ ಈ ಒಂದು ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಿದ್ರೆ, ಮಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಿದ್ರೆ ಜಗತ್ತೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಬಿಡಿಯಾಗಿ ಏನು ಕಾಣದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಯಾವ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಆಗ್ತಿತ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋದು ರಫ್ ವೇ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. ಈ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಚುಯಾಲಿಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಸೊ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಟಾಕ್ ಟು ದ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್. ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಐ ಲೀವ್ ಐ ವಿಶ್ ಟು ಸೇ ಇನ್ ವಾಟ್ ವೇ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ಅವರ್ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಚುಯಾಲಿಟಿ. ಆದಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಗೀತೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಭೂಮಿ ರಾಪೋ ಅನಲೋ ವಾಯು ಕಮ್ಮನ. ಹೇಳಿ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಭೂಮಿ ರಾಪೋ ಅನಲೋ ವಾಯು ಖಂ ಮನಃ ಅಹಂಕಾರ ದ್ವಿತೀಯಂ ಮೇ ಭಿನ್ನಃ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿರಷ್ಟದ. ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೀಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಪಂಚಮಹಾಭೂತಗಳು ಎಷ್ಟಾಯಿತು? 5. ಪಂಚಮಹಾಭೂತಗಳು 5. ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಹಂ. ಅಹಂ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಹಂಕಾರದಿಂದ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಅದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಬೇರೆ. ಅಹಂ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಒಟ್ಟು ಸೇರಿ ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು? 8. ಈ 8 ಕೂಡ ನನ್ನ external elements, external phase, external substance of my own. But these are all subjected to birth and decay. ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಹುಟ್ಟು ಮತ್ತು ಸಾವಿಗೆ ಒಳಗಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವು. ಆದರೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲಕ್ಕೂ ಕೂಡ ಶಕ್ತಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಅಂಶ ಇದೆ, ಅದು ಹುಟ್ಟೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸಾಯುವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಭೌತ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ವಿಚಾರ ಇಷ್ಟು ಗಹನವಾದದ್ದು ಖಂಡಿತ ಅಲ್ಲವೇ ಅಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಪಂಚಭೂತಗಳಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ 5 ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸಿಂಗ್. Again, if you go in subtle way, how these 5 elements have come together in the origin. In the case of science, we say that it's a big bang out of which so many things have come into existence. Later they started getting together. After so many billions and billions of years, the seen world has come into existence. But when you come to the spiritual world, I shall tell you, ಈ ಭೂತಗಳು ಇದ್ದು, ಪಂಚಭೂತಗಳು ಯಾವ್ಯಾವುದು ಆಗಾಗ್ಗೆ ಇದ್ದು, ನೀರು ಇತ್ತು, ಭೂಮಿ ಇತ್ತು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಗಾಳಿ ಇತ್ತು, ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಅಗ್ನಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಇವು ಈ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ ದ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ದೀಸ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ವರ್ ನಾಟ್ ದ ವೇ ಹೌ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಸೀನ್. ದೇ ವರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬೀನ್ ಸೀನ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೇ. ಅವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು, ಫಾರ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅರ್ತ್, ಭೂಮಿ ಇದೆ, ನೀರು ಇದೆ, ಈ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವು ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಮುಂಚೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದು, they started contributing some percentage of their contribution with each other. ಈಗ ಒಬ್ಬ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಊಟ ತಂದಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಊಟ ತಂದಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 5 ಜನ 5 ಊಟ ತಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಹುಡುಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವನು ತಂದಿರೋ ಊಟ 50% ಅವನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಪಕ್ಕ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 4 ಜನ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅರ್ಧ ಹಂಚಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಪಕ್ಕದ ಮನೆ ಒಳಗ ಏನು ತಂದಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವನು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ತಂದಿರ್ತಾನೆ, 50% ಅವನೇ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಉಳಿದ್ರೆ 50% ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, he will start sharing 1/8 with other 4. Similarly, these 5 different main foods are shared, having been left 50% with them, remaining 1/8 into 4 is going to be shared among other 4. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಅಪಂಚೀಕೃತವಾಗಿದ್ದಂಥ those who were not classified, unclassified elements started coming together. Later they have become classified. So this present existing world has come into existence. This is what our spirituality would say. That is what the modern science would say. ಈ ಅರ್ಥದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ನೀವು ಗಾಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಹಿಗ್ಸ್ ಬೋಸನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ರಿ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಡೀಪರ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್. ಆಲ್ಬರ್ಟ್ ಐನ್ಸ್ಟೈನ್ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು ಮಾತನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, from its deepest existence, nature manifests herself through beautiful mathematical formulas, wonderful physical laws, enchanting biological creation, which conveys its hidden symmetry. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯಿತು? ಐನ್ಸ್ಟೈನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ ಮಾತು ಇದು. ಒಬ್ಬ ಸಂತನ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ ಮಾತು. ಅವ ಹೇಳಿದ, from its deepest existence. When we say deepest existence, nothing of this phenomenal empirical world things are there, which is unseen, without which nothing of seen things are going to be in existence, which is there as a source, as an essence, without which nothing of this seen world can come into existence. Avadu ಹೇಳಿತು, from its deepest existence, we can call it as a consciousness, you can call that as an energy or a god. Energy ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಅಲ್ಲ. These are all the energy which we can understand within the framework of E is equal to mc square. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? This is the energy which we can understand in the framework of the science. Maximum is equal to E. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ C ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, C is as the value of 3 lakhs kilometer per second. It has its own limitation. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಾನ್ಸಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಪರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್. ಅವ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು, ಫ್ರಮ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಡೀಪೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ನೇಚರ್ ಮ್ಯಾನಿಫೆಸ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಹರ್ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾಸ್. ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಮಾತನಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಥಿಯರಿನ ಫ್ಲೋಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಫ್ರೇಮ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕಲ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಎ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್, ದಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಎ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಆ ಒಂದು ದಿವ್ಯ ತತ್ವ ಜಗತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದು ಪ್ರಕಟ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಗಣಿತದ ಸೂತ್ರವಾಗಿ ಭೌತಶಾಸ್ತ್ರದ ನಿಯಮವಾಗಿ ನಂತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಯಾಲಜಿಕಲ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಷನ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಗಾಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಈ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಚುವಲ್ ಡೊಮೇನಿಗೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಅದೇನು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿ ಸೈಂಟಿಸ್ಟ್ಗಳು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಸೋ ಮಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಪ್ರಿಷಿಯೇಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಗಾಡ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್. ಅಂತಹದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು, ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರು ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ರಿ. ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ಸೆರೆಮನಿ. ಐ ವಿಶ್ this conference is going to bring new understanding and new insight for our understanding. So with which we are going to expand the horizon of our understanding. ಇದು ಆದದ್ದೇ ಆದರೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ಮುಂದಿನ ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಮತ್ತು ಧರ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಶಕ್ತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹದ್ದು ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹದ್ದು ಪರಸ್ಪರ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತಿರೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ದಿ ಲೂಸರ್ಸ್. ಅಂತಹದ್ರ ಕಡೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಹೋಗೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಈ 4 ಫೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸು, ವೀಕ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್, ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್. ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳಿ. ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಕೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಈ 4 ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್? ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್. ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಓಕೆ. ಒಂದ್ ವೇಳೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯಸ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿತ್ತು? ಹೇಳಿ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ಸ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಒಳಗಡೆ ಯಾವ್ದಿದಾವೆ? ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್, ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್. ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ಸ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಮನೆನ 4 ಜನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಿತ್ತಾಡಿ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಎರಡೂ ಒಂದೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತವ? ರಿಪೆಲ್ ಆಗ್ತವ ಅಥವಾ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತವ? ಆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರ್ಬೋದು? ಆ ರಿಪೆಲಿಂಗ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್? ಅಂದಾಜು ಒಬ್ರಿಗೊಬ್ರು ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಓಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಮುಖ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗದ್ರೆ ಆ ಓಡೋ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಕಡೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಮುಖ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದಿಕ್ಕಲ್ಲಿ ಓಡ್ತಿರ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸುಮಾರು ಹತ್ತತ್ರ ಒಂದು 12ರಿಂದ 13,000 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಪರ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಡಲ್ಲಿ ಓಡ್ಬೋದವು? ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದು 13,000 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಪರ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ಅಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಡಲ್ಲಿ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರು ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಡಲ್ಲಿ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಟ್ಟುಗೂಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಹೌದಿಲ್ಲ? ಅಷ್ಟು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಹೊರಗಡೆಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಸೋ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ದೆಮ್ ಯುನೈಟ್, ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ದಟ್ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಬಲ್. So much of force is needed to make them to live together. That is called strong force. ಇನ್ನು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತು, ರೇಡಿಯಂ ಡಿಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವೀಕ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತು, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟು ಗ್ರಾವಿಟೇಷನಲ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ಸ್ನ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ವಿಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಓದೋದೇ ಆದರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡದ್ದೇ ಆದರೆ ಬದುಕು ಪೂರ್ಣ ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಥಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. Later we can start your journey, but our modern science can reach only the external peripheral surface of the life, not possible to go in deep into the existence. ಅಂತಹದವರ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸು ನಡೀಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Those who have been listening and viewing across the world, I wish all them the best. And those who have come here to present your cases, I wish you all the best and the blessings of Kalbhairav and Puji Guruji. And the students, since morning, our Dr. Vanessa, Vice Chancellor, CEO, expressing his happiness to see such a divine silence has been pervading around. How come students are maintaining such a beautiful silence? I told him, because our students are understanding this conference concept so nicely. It is because of that they have been maintaining the pin drop silence. If that is really truly that is the reason, I appreciate your being here till the last moment of this today's seminar and the conference. Try to understand the great essence of the things which these guys, these great people are going to exchange your understanding, which we can make your life quite sublime. Wishing you all the best for the success of this program, and principal who made this program quite successful. I conclude my words, praying Kal Bhairav for the best of the system as a whole. Yes.
Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, imagination encircles the world. It is our fortune that we enter that beautiful world of imagination by way of the divine blessing. I submit my pranamas to Mahaswamiji for his grace. Now I request Professor Gunavati, Department of Computer Science, to propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, my Lord Director. On this occasion, first I would like to propose vote of thanks for our Pujya Swamiji, Shri Dr. Nirmala Nandanatha Swamiji for blessing. Swamiji, thank you so much. I thank the respected chief guest of this seminar, Shri C.D. Prasad, former scientist, for their inaugural speech. Thank you, sir. I extend my sincere thanks to the respected other chief guest, Dr. D.A. Gagali, former professor, Bangalore University, for their keynote address. Thank you, sir. And I thank for guest of honor of this occasion, Dr. Putraju sir, Vice Chancellor, Mandya University, Mandya. I thank for Dr. N.S. Ramegoda, CEO, Shri Adi Chunchandgiri Shikshan Trust. Thank you, sir. And I thank for all the chairpersons, speakers, participants, resource persons, faculty members from various colleges, students, teaching or non-teaching faculty of our college. Thank you, Varana. I would like to welcome our this session speaker, Dr. T. Shivlinga Swami. Welcome you, sir.
ಹೋಗು
I would like to introduce chairperson in Dr. Mallikarjuna Hiramat. He born Ishwaraya Swami Hiramat and Srimati Gangamma Hiramat. He is qualified with MSc in chemistry and BA from Karnataka University, Dharwad. He obtained his PhD degree from Department of Chemistry, Karnataka University, Dharwad. He had 12 years experience in teaching at postgraduate level. His area of specialization in research is physical chemistry. He published research articles in various journals of national and international repute. He completed one UGC New Delhi founded minor research project titled Kinetic and Mechanistic Investigation of Antifungal Drug by Stable Accidents. He is life member of Indian Science Congress, India and IAENG, Hong Kong. Recently, he nominated as the Lifetime Fellow of Indian Chemical Society, Kolkata. Presently, he is continuing his services as Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry in Maharani Science College for Women, Mysore. On behalf of our college, I would like to welcome you, sir.
Thank you. I seek the attention of all of you people. Now, for which we have been waiting since all these days when the conference date have been published, and the great Swamiji have highlighted our God particle and also in the keynote address also, Professor B.A. Kagre has mentioned much about the Gauss particle called as Higgs boson. It takes 50 years to discover scientifically the greatest particle called as Higgs boson, popularly called as God particle. I am not going to take much time on this. I would like to formally start the technical session 1 on the title on the theme of the seminar, that is recent trends in physics with emphasis on the discovery of the God particle. Now there will be a technical session of 45 minutes. Now the time is 12:50. I request Dr. T. Shivalinga Swami to highlight the talk on the God particle up to the 125, and the 5 minutes will be there for the discussion with the speaker. With your permission, I request Dr. T. Shivalinga Swami to address you with this title talk. Over to Dr. T. Shivalinga Swami.